Hey guys, I'm not even going to let surgery keep you from learning Algebra 1. That's how important it is to me that you learn your Algebra 1. That even though I am not here, I am still here. I know that you miss me. I know that you're sad that I'm not here. But we still got a little bit of work to do. So what you're going to be doing at the start of this period is watching this video on our new topic, which is equation word problems. Okay. You'll then have the rest of the class to be working on any of the homework assignments that you've gotten this unit. Use your time wisely over the next couple days. I'm going to go over the schedule you have coming up. Both my double block class, my second, third period, and my seventh period class are watching the same video. So I'm going to go over what you guys have coming up for the rest of this unit so that you know. And then we'll start our notes. So make sure that you go ahead and get paper out. So if this is my second or third period, Miles, make sure you get paper out on your desk. And Armani and Destiny and Stephanie and Fatima and Jada and Ashley, stop talking and pay attention. This is my seventh period class. Somebody wake Paul up. Don't let him sleep through this entire video. And I need Benjamin, Jocelyn, Wilmer, and Michaela to please be quiet so we can all listen. All right, second and third period. This is what we have coming up. Today, you're going to watch this video on equation word problems. Then the sub is going to give you your homework assignment number 6, which is equation word problems. That means that you will have the first 6 homework assignments that you can be working on after this video is over. The sub is also going to pass back the test review that you guys got yesterday. And now, after having watched the video, you should be able to do all the problems from 15 to 46. So all but the first 14. And we're going to talk about how to do those next week. I will not be here tomorrow. So tomorrow you're going to be working on homework assignments 1 through 6. And then 8, which is the test review. So you'll have all class period to be working on those. Use your time wisely. You're going to have a bunch coming up at the beginning of next week, and that way you have them already finished and turned in. Remember that Monday there's no school. It's Columbus Day, so all of you students stay home. I will be here, probably still on pain medication. In the gym, we'll be having touch base. It's like parent-teacher conferences. So hopefully I'll be meeting with your parents. We can talk about the things that you're doing well. We can talk about the things that you can improve on to make sure you are doing well in my class. The next week, I'll see you on Tuesday. On Tuesday, homework assignment number 4, which is the solving equations with fractions worksheet, and homework assignment number 5, which is the solving literal equations worksheet. Those are going to be due. We're going to go over those, probably take a daily quiz, so be ready for that. On Wednesday next week, we will not have class. That's 10th and 11th graders are going to be taking the PSAT. All of you 9th graders are going to be going to a freshman activity in the gym, so we're not going to have any class on Wednesday. On Thursday, homework assignment number 6 is due. That's the one you're getting today on equation word problems. Okay, and then we will start inequalities on Thursday. Friday of next week, we're going to finish up inequalities. Monday, the week after, that inequalities homework assignment is going to be due, and that will be our test review day. And then we will take our test on Tuesday, October 20th. That means all 8 homework assignments are due on that day. So that's my plan for the rest of Unit 2 for periods 2 and 3. For period 7, again today, you are going to watch the equation word problems video. You are going to get 2 assignments. You're going to get the equation word problems assignment, that's number 6. You're also going to get the test review, which is homework assignment number 8. Homework assignment number 8. And you'll have the rest of the period to be working on those assignments. Tomorrow, you're going to be in here during flex when I'm not here, and you're going to have that entire 45 minutes to work on homework assignments 1 through 6 and number 8, which is the test review. Okay, use your time wisely. Again, on the test review, you will already know how to do problems 15 to 46. That's every single problem except for the first 14. Okay, so use your time wisely, get that done. Again, Monday, you also have no school. It'll be touch base. Your parents are going to come into the gym so I can talk to them about things you're doing well, things you need to work on. On Tuesday, I'll see you. On Tuesday, you have 3 homework assignments due. Homework assignment number 4, which actually was due last class, but I forgot to go over the answers. Homework assignment number 5, that's the literal equation. And homework assignment number 6, which is the word problems one you're getting today. Those are all due Tuesday next week. So we're going to come in, do a bunch of review, go over the answers, take a daily quiz. Then on Thursday, we're going to start inequalities. Monday of the week after, that inequalities homework assignment, number 7, that will be due. And then we'll start reviewing for the test. Your test will be Wednesday, October 21st. Wednesday, October 21st. On that day, all 8 homework assignments are going to be due. So make sure you use your time wisely over the next couple days and over your long weekend so that you don't get to that Wednesday and have a whole bunch of homework to do. All right, so let's get to what we're covering today. At any point during this video, if you need some more time to look at something, you can pause the video to write it down. If you need to see a problem done again, just ask the sub to rewind a little bit, and you can see me redo that problem to help you out. All right, so today we're going to talk about equation word problems. Equation word problems. To me, here's the hard thing about equation word problems. If I were to just give you a normal equation, I am very confident that you could solve that, every single one of you. I bet you could solve that equation. We've practiced it a bunch, done lots and lots of examples. I bet you could solve it. The tough thing now is that instead of giving you an equation, I'm just going to give you the word problem. The hard part of this is that means you have to set up the equation yourself and then solve it. So if you can't set up the right equation, it's going to be really tough for you to get the correct answer to one of these problems, okay? So that's what we're going to practice today. Not just solving the equation, but how to set up the correct equation. There are 2 types of equation word problems that we're going to see. The first type is either a total pay or a total cost problem. A total pay or a total cost problem. So we're going to see 4 examples of this. And then the second type that you're going to see are problems about perimeter, and we're going to see a couple of those. So first, we have this total pay, total cost problems, okay? When you're reading the problem, it's going to be really evident whether you're talking about the total cost of some items or the total pay for some number of hours that you're working, okay? So when you look at the problem, you need to figure out first, is this a total pay problem or is this a total cost problem? And your equations for those problems are here. So make sure you write these in your notes. Again, if you need to pause the video to make sure you have plenty of time to write them both, do, but put these both in your notes. If you have a total pay problem, your equation looks like this. The total pay equals the hourly pay times the number of hours plus some sort of extra pay. There's always going to be some sort of extra pay in there that's going to get added on at the end. Again, total pay equals the hourly pay times the number of hours worked plus some sort of extra pay. The total cost equation is very similar. Instead of total pay, it's the total cost. Instead of the hourly pay, you're going to take the cost per item. There's going to be some item in the problem that you're talking about. The cost per item times the number of items. Let's actually put a little S in there. Times the number of items plus some sort of extra cost. Okay, so the total cost equals the cost per item times the number of items plus some sort of extra cost. So when I give you the word problem, you need to figure out again, is it total pay or total cost? And then write that equation to start the problem. Then you're going to fill in what you know from the problem and solve for what you don't. So let's look at some examples. Example number 1. Please do not copy this down. You do not need to copy this down. What we're going to do is we're going to figure out whether it's a total pay or total cost, and then I'm going to circle the important information. I want you to write down the important information. Okay, so do not copy down the entire problem. We're just writing down the important information. So let's read it. A cashier gets paid $8.50 per hour. On Thanksgiving, the cashier got paid a total of $169. 69. Which included a $50 bonus for working on a holiday. How many hours did the cashier work? So first thing we need to decide, is this a total pay or a total cost problem? Well, we're talking about how much this cashier gets paid per hour. That means it's a total pay problem. So I'm going to write down my equation. Total pay, so go ahead and write this, equals the hourly pay times the number of hours plus some extra pay. So again, go ahead and write down this equation because we know, reading the problem, this is a total pay problem. Now, we have to figure out what things we know in this problem. So do I know the total pay in this problem? Yes. It tells me the cashier got paid a total of $169. So in place of total pay, I'm going to write 169 equals my hourly pay. Are we told how much this cashier gets paid per hour? Yes. We're told that she gets paid, he or she gets paid $8.50 per hour. So I'm going to write 8.5. I could write 8.50, but 8.5 is the same thing. Times, do I know how many hours this cashier worked? No, that's what we're asking for, is how many hours. So since we don't know that value, what are we going to call that until we figure it out? A variable like x. I'm going to put 8.5 times x plus, this cashier isn't just getting paid $8.50 per hour. They're also getting paid a $50 bonus because they're working on a holiday. So that $50 is the extra pay that they get. What I end up with is a pretty easy equation to solve to find x. Okay? Again, if you need to pause the video, pause the video. All right, now let's solve it. To get x by itself, I have to get rid of 8.5 and 50. The 50 is farthest away, so I get rid of that first. Instead of adding 50, I subtract 50 on both sides. 169 minus 50, I get 119 equals 8.5x. Okay, the 50s cancel each other out. And then now to get x by itself, I divide by 8.5. When I write 8.5 and x beside each other, it means that I am multiplying 8.5 and x. So the inverse of multiplying by 8.5 is dividing by 8.5. And if I do that on one side, I do it on the other. My 8.5s cancel out. I get x all by itself equals 119 divided by 8.5 is 14. So my answer to this problem is 14. And again, in this problem, what did x represent? X represented the number of hours, so that should be 14 hours. So again, I gave you the word problem. You set up the equation yourself, then you solve that equation to answer the problem. And that's what we're doing on these total pay and total costs. Okay? Number 2, if you call a cab, you are charged $2.50, a $2.50 service charge at the beginning of the ride and 75 cents per mile. If the total cost of a cab is $12.25, how many miles did the cab drive? So we have to figure out, is this a total pay or a total cost problem? Well, you can see here that we're talking about the total cost. So first we start off by writing that equation. Total cost equals the cost per item times the number of items plus some sort of extra cost. Now, before we start plugging in the information we know, what are these items that we're talking about in this problem? Okay, what am I talking about? The cost per what and the number of what? In this problem, the item is my miles, right? We're talking about the cost per mile. We're talking about how many miles. Okay, so that should help you figure out what values in here I know. All right, my total cost, that we know. It says if the total cost of the cab ride is $12.25, so I write 12.25 equals the cost per item is really the cost per mile. Do I know the cost per mile? Yep, it's 75 cents. So I can put 0.75. times the number of items, which would be the number of miles. Do I know that? Nope, because that's what we're asking. How many miles? Okay, so what am I going to call this? A variable. It doesn't matter what you call it. You could call it X. Because it's miles, you could call it M. It does not matter, so let's just use X. And then plus, you're not just paying 75 cents per mile to ride in this cab. You're also having to pay this $2.50 service charge. That is an extra cost in your problem that you have to add onto the end. So that means the equation that we are going to solve to figure out how many miles we're driving is this. 12.25 equals 0.75x plus 2.50. All right, so now we just get x by itself. To do that, I get rid of the 0.75 and the 250. Instead of adding, we get rid of the 250 first because it's farthest away. Instead of adding, I subtract on both sides. My $2.50 cancels out. I get $9.75 equals 0.75x. And then to get rid of that 0.75, I divide by 0.75. Because when you write 0.75 and x beside each other, it means that you're multiplying. So I divide. And I get x all by itself. If you do 9.75 divided by 0.75, you get 13. That means x equals 13. And again, x in this problem represented the number of items. That was the number of miles, so this answer would be 13 miles. Is how far the cab ride was. Again, if you need to see the problem again, just rewind it and go check it out. I don't know why I inserted a page. Let's just go one to the right. And there we are. Example number 3. A florist charges $69 $69 for a dozen roses in a vase. If the vase costs $15 on its own, what is the cost of each rose? So we have to figure out, is this a total pay or a total cost problem? Okay, again, we're talking about how much something costs, how much we're getting charged for that. Okay, so that means this is a total cost problem. So start off with your total cost equation. Total cost equals the cost per item times the number of items plus some sort of extra cost. Before we start filling these in, what are the items that we're talking about this problem? We're talking about the cost per what and the number of what. Well, in this problem, we're talking about the cost of each rose. So the cost per item, the number of items would be the cost per rose. The number of rows is. All right, total cost. The total cost we are given in this problem is 69 equals the cost per item. Do I know how much each rose cost? No, that's what we're asking for. What is the cost of each rose? So what are we going to call that until we figure it out? A variable like x. So I do x times. The number of items would be the number of roses. So are there 15 roses? No, this isn't 15 roses. This is $15. It tells me up here there are a dozen roses. Dozen means 12. So it's kind of a little tricky there. You're told how many roses, but not by giving you a number, by giving you a word that means a number. Plus, you're not just paying for these 12 roses, you're also paying for what? The vase. It tells you that this vase, or vase if you're fancy, costs $15. So $15 is my extra cost. So the equation that I'm going to solve is this. 69 equals x times 12, I can just write as 12x because of the what property. What property says I can multiply x times 12 and get 12 times x? That's the commutative property. So now let's solve. To get x by itself, I get rid of the 12 and the 15. The 15 goes first. I get rid of adding 15 by subtracting 15. And I get 69 minus 15 is 54 equals 12x. And then I get rid of that 12x by dividing by 12x on both sides. My 12s cancel out, and I get x equals 4.5. Now, I told you that in algebra, we don't want to leave our answers as decimals. But in this problem, we are not going to hit math enter and change this into a fraction, because we have to look at what this x represents. In this problem, x represents the cost per rows. That means this 4.5 should really be $4.50. So 4.5 in this problem, because it represents a cost, should really be $4.50. All right, and one more example of these total pay, total cost problems. Number 4, a summer camp counselor gets paid a total of $445 for the week. If the counselor worked 30 hours that week and received a $100 bonus for winning counselor of the week, what is the counselor's hourly pay? Obviously, we can tell that we're talking about their total pay, right? We see their total for the week. We're talking about hourly pay. So we know this should be a total pay problem. So our total pay equals the hourly pay. So we're about to write the pay per hour, which I guess is the same thing, but takes more letters to write. So the hourly pay times the number of hours, plus there's always going to be some sort of extra pay. So let's read our problem, figure out what we know and what we don't. Do I know the total pay? Yes, it tells you that they get paid a total of $445 for the week. So my total pay, $445. Equals the hourly pay. Do I know that? No, because that's what we're asking for. What is the hourly pay? So we call that X. Times. Do we know the number of hours? Yes, we are told this counselor works 30 hours that week. It's going to be X times 30. And they're not just getting paid for those 30 hours. They're also getting paid this $100 bonus for winning counselor of the week. Ballin'. So this is plus 100. So the equation that we need to solve to find X is this. 445 equals, instead of X times 30, I'm just going to write 30X because of the commutative property, plus 100. And now we solve. To get X by itself, I have to get rid of 30 and 100. The 100 goes first because it's farthest away. Instead of adding 100, I subtract 100. I get 345 equals 30x. And then 30x means 30 times x. So the inverse of multiplying by 30 is dividing by 30. I do that on both sides. My 30s cancel out, and I get x all by itself. And 345 divided by 30 equals 11.5. Now, what does that X represent in this problem? Again, X represents the hourly pay. So we're not going to turn this into a fraction. And in fact, we're going to add a decimal point because that 11.5 is really $11.50 is the total, or is the hourly pay. That counselor makes $11.50 per hour. Okay. So on the homework assignment you're going to get, you have 6 problems on the front of that sheet that practice either a total pay or a total cost problem. The second type of equation that you're going to see are these perimeter problems. Now, normally in a perimeter problem, you are given a shape, you are told what the length of each side is, and then you are asked to find the perimeter. In this problem, I'm going to tell you what the perimeter is, and you are going to have to find what the length of each of those sides are. Okay, so for perimeter, remember that to find the perimeter, your perimeter is equal to the sum of all the sides of that shape. Remember that the word sum means to add. So to find the perimeter, we are going to add up all sides of that shape. So let's look at a couple examples. And I added a page again. There we go. Example 5, the perimeter of a triangle is 39. If the sides of the triangle are 3x plus 2, x minus 4, and 2x minus 7, what is the value of x? So again, I'm not asking you for the perimeter. I tell you that the perimeter is 39. I'm asking you to find x. So what we have to do is turn this equation, or excuse me, turn this word problem into an equation, and we use this. We need to remember that the perimeter equals the sum of all the sides. So, in this problem, do I know what the perimeter is? Yeah, tell you that the perimeter is 39. So that means that I'm going to replace the word perimeter with 39 equals. Okay. Actually, before we solve this, I meant to do this before. Let's draw this, okay, to kind of make sure we understand this. We have a triangle. Triangle has 3 sides. It does not matter what your triangle looks like, just that you draw a shape that has 3 sides. And right now we know that those sides are 3x plus 2, x minus 4, and 2x minus 7. It doesn't matter which side is which, so just pick one. I'm going to make this one 3x plus 2. I'm going to make this one x minus 4. I'm going to make this one 2x minus 7. And to find the perimeter, I need to add up those sides. So that means I'm going to do 3x plus 2 plus x minus 4 plus 2x minus 7. So I added up my 1, 2, 3 sides of my triangle. Now, in order to solve this, the first thing I have to do is combine all the like terms that I have over here on the right side of my equation. So I'm going to get 39 equals, and let's look for my like terms. Like terms, I've got 3x, I've got this 1x, and I've got this 2x. So the question is, when I combine those, do I do what the problem says, or do I do the inverse? So again, are these like terms on the same side of your equal sign or on opposite sides? They're all on the same side. That means when I combine them, I do what the problem says. So the problem says 3x plus 1x plus 2x. So let's do 3x plus 1x, that's 4x. And then I take the 4x and add 2x, and I get 6x. Those x's aren't the only like terms. I also have like terms here with the 2, the 4, and the 7. Because they're all on the same side, when I combine them, I do what the problem says. And the problem says 2 minus 4 minus 7. You can use your calculator to help you out. But if I do 2 minus 4, I get negative 2. And then if I do negative 2 minus 7, I get negative. So I write minus 9. So this is the equation I need to solve to find x. 6x minus 9 equals 39. So first I get rid of the 9. Instead of adding, I subtract. Excuse me, instead of subtracting, I add 9 to both sides. 39 plus 9, I get 48 equals 6x. These 9s cancel out. And then I get rid of this 6 by dividing by 6 on both sides. I get x equals 8. So the problem asks you to find the value of x. So you now know that x is equal to 8. Okay. Now, something else I'm going to ask you to do on your homework is after you find the value of x, to find the length of these 3 sides. So how am I supposed to know what 3 times x plus 2 is equal to? Or how am I supposed to know what x minus 4 is equal to? Well, now I know what x is. So I can substitute 8 in for each of these x values. So instead of 3 times x, this becomes 3 times 8 plus 2. Instead of x minus 4, this becomes 8 minus 4. And instead of 2 times x, this becomes 2 times 8 minus 7. And then you can use your calculator to evaluate. 3 times 8 is 24. 24 plus 2 is 26. Here, 8 minus 4 is 4. And here, 2 times 8 is 16. 16 minus 7 is 9. So the length of the 3 sides of my triangle are 26, 9, and 4. Last thing, a quick way to double check. Now, if I take my sides and add them together, how am I going to know that I got my problem right? Well, I should equal what the problem said my perimeter was. So if I add these, 26 plus 9 is 35. 35 plus 4 is 39, which is what we were told the perimeter is for this problem. So it's a quick way at the end to double check to make sure that problem is correct. If you need some more time to write this down, or if you need to see it again, just either pause it or rewind it. But I'm going to go ahead on to our last problem. And that is example number 6. The perimeter of a pentagon is 105. The sides of the pentagon are 4a, 2a minus 3, a plus 9, 23 minus 2a, and 3a minus 4. So again, we're talking about perimeter. So we know that we should start with perimeter equals the sum of all sides. Now, before I set this up, I'm going to go ahead and draw this problem just so I have an idea of what we're talking about. When I say I have a pentagon, okay, that means that I have a 5-sided figure. If you want to draw a 5-sided figure, you just make a house. You make your roof. That's 2 sides. You make your wall. That's 2 more sides. You make your floor. So there's a pentagon. If you see the word quadrilateral in your homework assignment, quadrilateral means 4 sides. If you see the word trapezoid, a trapezoid has 4 sides. In fact, let's write this down. So a 3-sided figure, that would be a triangle. A 4-sided figure would be a quadrilateral, or a trapezoid. Quadrilateral, you just draw anything that has 4 sides. With a trapezoid, normally the top and the bottom are different lengths, but they're parallel to each other. So trapezoid normally looks like that. I could use rectangle or square, but if I use rectangle or square, that means that some of the sides would be equal to each other. So you're not going to see any of those in your problem, in your homework. Obviously, in this problem, we talk about a 5-sided figure is a pentagon. And a 6-sided figure is a hexagon. So that's what you might need to know for your homework. For this problem, though, we're talking about a pentagon, so let's label our sides. Again, it does not matter which sides you label as which, but one of my sides is 4a. One of them is 2a minus 3. One of them is a plus 9. One of them is 23 minus 2a, and one of them is 3a minus 4. So now let's set up this equation. In this problem, do I know the perimeter? Yes, they tell you that the perimeter of the problem is 105, so you replace that with 105 equals. Then I'm going to add each of these 5 sides together. So I'm going to do 4a plus 2a minus 3 plus a plus 9 plus 23 minus 2a plus 3a minus 4. Now, before I can solve this, what I want to do is combine all the like terms that I have on the right side of my equal sign. So let's figure out what like terms I have. Well, we have our a's. So I've got a 4a, a 2a, a 1a, a 2a, and a 3a. And because they're all on the same side, when I combine them, I have to do what the problem says. And my problem says 4a plus 2a, that's 6a. Then I do 6a plus 1a, that's 7a. Then I do 7a minus 2a. 7a minus 2a is 5a. And then last, I do 5a plus 3a, which is 8a. I also have like terms with anything that does not have an a. That would be this -3, this 9, this 23, and this 4. They're all on the same side of my equal sign, so when I combine them, I do what the problem says. And this says -3 plus 9, which is 6. Then I can do 6 plus 23, which is 29. And then last 29 minus 4, which is a positive, so I put a plus 25. So this is the equation that I need to solve to get A by itself. So let's solve it. Instead of adding 25, we're going to subtract, and we get rid of the 25 first because it's what's farthest away from our A. I get 80 equals 8A. And then I get rid of that 8 by dividing by 8. And I get A equals 10. So the problem asks, what is the value of A? We found out that A is equal to 10. But on the homework, I'm going to ask you one more thing, and that's to find the value of each side. So how am I supposed to know what each of these 5 sides is actually equal to? Easy. I substitute in my A. So instead of 4 times A, we're going to do 4 times 10. That means this side of my pentagon is 40. 2 times A becomes 2 times 10, which is 20. 20 minus 3, which is 17. So this side of my pentagon is 17. Here, A plus 9 becomes 10 plus 9, which is 19. Here, 23 minus 2 times A becomes 23 minus 2 times 10. Well, 2 times 10 is 20, and 23 minus 20 is 3. And last, 3 times A becomes 3 times 10, which is 30, and 30 minus 4 is 26. So the 5 lengths in this pentagon are 40, 17, 19, 3, and 26. And really quickly, I can double check to make sure I got this problem correct. I'm going to take my 5 sides and add them together. So when I add, and again, you can use your calculator, 6 plus 7 is 13. 13 plus 9 is 22. 22 plus 3 is 25. So I write the 5, carry the 2. 2 and 4 is 6. 6 and 2 is 8. Plus 1 is 9. Plus 1 is 10. And I get the 105 that I was supposed to get. So that's it for today's lesson. Use those notes. You're going to get 2 things. You're going to get homework assignment number 6, which is the homework assignment on word problems. You're also going to get your test review, and you have the rest of today's class to work on it and also Friday's class to work on it as well. So use that time wisely. Hope everybody has a great weekend, and I will see you guys on Tuesday or possibly Monday if your mom or dad brings you with them to touch base. Have a great weekend, guys. Deuces.